Alright, we're gonna roll through this stuff now.
Okay, today we're talking about the desk.
But first,
I'm headed to do some ice at physical therapy. Buddy. Quick pit stop. Why is Chipotle so good? I'll never know. Okay, everybody, this is the desk. Sitting is the new smoking, and I think 10 years, probably 5 years, a large group of people are going to really realize that sitting around, being stationary at a desk for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours a day is extremely detrimental to your body. Physiologically, anatomically, every facet that you can imagine, your heart, your lungs, your nerves, your body's muscular patterns, fascial patterns, connective tissue, everything gets out of whack by us sitting all day. Extremely detrimental to your posture, extremely detrimental to your health, your heart health, your breathing health, your vascularity, your perfusion throughout your whole body of not just blood but energy and the flow of information. When we sit all day, we develop these patterns that drastically change our bodies, that completely affect us literally to our hearts, to our lungs, to our brains, to our souls. It is really important that we become aware of the fact that sitting is the new smoking. Sitting is killing us. I can explain it to you, I will explain it to you, but I promise you that if you take this opportunity to change the patterns in which you work, to instead of being sitting at a desk all day, typing away and developing this incredibly unhealthy posture, invest in yourself. Buy a standing desk, buy a treadmill desk, buy something that influences you to get up, to get out of your seat, but still maintain a productive day, and productive not only to your work, but productive to your life and to the years that you're going to have down the road, hopefully. And that's where our focus has to be, so that we change our reactive healthcare system into a proactive one. The only way that's changing is with us, is with our choices and with our decisions to make behavioral modifications in ourselves and our children, and maybe influencing our friends and family who aren't getting up and moving enough, who sit at a desk for 9 straight hours a day, who barely drink any water. Those changes will make massive changes on the macro scale for our entire population and probably the world. I'm going to use this band to show how sitting changes our connective tissue, which changes our posture, which sets off a cascade of detrimental and negative events, both physiologically and spiritually, in our bodies and lives. Or how a lot of us have it, off to one side. We're creating a pull. Everything's dumping forward. Your head's dumping forward. Everything is coming forward, which we're going to show by this is the pattern our band is making. This is the force. This is the connection. So we've created a pattern now that pulls us into a position like this. In a position like this with a forward head posture and shoulders collapsing, we lose the good curve in our neck. And this is what you call segmental innervation. So as you look at C3, C4, C5, or the cervical vertebra in your neck, it associates with this level of the pathways, the neurological pathways. So you can see how when our posture starts dumping forward and you start negatively impacting, and here why people start having so much issues in their shoulders and hands. Okay, so here's your arm, and what happens when you sit like that, you develop this forward posture of your shoulder. So your shoulder literally rounds medially and in, so that this whole deltoid, all of this comes forward, and you collapse on the vascular structures, which this is your axillary artery, and it comes down branching into the brachial artery right here. So what happens is when you close off, you create stagnation here. And when you create stagnation, you reduce the ability for oxygen and for nutrients and for waste to flow. And when that happens, you start cutting off the elasticity of the soft tissue, and what happens is you see impingement of nerve channels. You start seeing carpal tunnel syndromes, this median nerve, because all this entrapment here and the lack of blood flow because of neurovascular impingement here cascades all the way down into your hand, and you start seeing a lack of blood flow here. It's not noticeable to say, oh, you're not getting any blood anywhere, but it's noticeable enough to change the quality of tissues around that carpal tunnel region, where there's a lot of different structures and a lot of tendons going through one very small spot. And when you have that, that's when you see the scar tissue and the lack of elastic tissues contributing to an impingement of that nerve, which leads to your carpal tunnel. So I think when you sit like this, The biggest detriments that you have to your body in this position is the inability of the diaphragm to properly contract. The diaphragm is your primary muscle of respiration. When you inhale, it comes down, and exhale up. When you're in a position like this, you are limiting its ability to fully contract and fully do its job. And so when you do that, interestingly enough, the central tendon of the diaphragm attaches to the outer fibrous layer of the pericardium, and the pericardium is the membranous sac that encases your heart. So quite literally, your diaphragm attaches to your heart. Sitting affects your breathing, and breathing affects your heart. I love this desk because I can change positions. I can kneel. I can work on bending my knees and be on the ground and sit very low. I can sit on a ball and working on my postural and my core stabilizing muscles, and also maintaining movement so that I don't have to get stationary and stagnant. I literally can be in any position I want. Another one of my favorites is to kneel on my chair. I extend my spine, I contract my glutes, I contract my core muscles. I'm actually working. I'm actually still productive. I'm still doing my work. I'm still getting things done, but I'm standing up. I'm focusing on getting my shoulders back, on being in proper posture so that I can maintain good health and limit the negative consequences of gravity and what is going to happen to my body and all of our bodies as we get older and as we age. I don't want to contribute to that any more than it's already going to happen. And I think that when I can get that mindset and when I can live in that mode, that's when I'm most creative, that's when I'm most effective, and that's when I'm most productive in my life. I also feel happier. I feel more motivated. I feel more at peace and like I'm burning calories. I also don't get that incredibly stiff feeling of being like this all day long. I can move my shoulders and I can be free and maintain that healthy mobility of all my joints. That's absolutely vital for long-term health. Okay, to wrap things up, I'd like to give you a takeaway that can help with your body and you can do during your routine during the day, which takes 2-3 minutes at max. And the more you do it, the more benefit and freedom that you'll experience. And what we're going to show you is a median nerve stretch, which also is the acupuncture meridian for the lung in Chinese medicine. And so how we begin is by pressing out, like you're pressing yourselves away from a wall. You're extending your wrist like this, and you're pressing your shoulders so that your shoulder blades are away from your spine. It's called protraction. Now what I want you to do, elevate or bring your shoulders to your ears and then depress them, take them away, and maintain that protraction so you're pushing into that wall. Now, rotate your thumbs away from the midline or supinate your wrist. Externally rotate. Now, extend the elbows a little bit more. Some of you might feel a stretch here. For those of you that don't, begin abducting your shoulders and still maintain depression and protraction of that shoulder. Now, I feel a good stretch here. And as you feel that good stretch, be mindful to take some deep breaths. And another way that you can expand this pose is then by pronating your wrists and rotating them inward, creating an internal rotation at the shoulders. It should feel a similar stretch, maybe in a little different location. Either or works. Be playful, experiment, and explore your body. Take 2 to 3 minutes a day to do this. I promise you, you'll feel the benefit. And I also promise you, for those of you who are experiencing pre-carpal tunnel-like syndromes, this will drastically help you, and this will drastically bring your consciousness into your need to adjust your postural and behavioral choices so that you don't end up with a nasty carpal tunnel or nerve impingement at your shoulders. That's all for now. Thanks for joining me.